It takes a kid in, I guess, 10th grade, 10 years old, we're thinking about, okay, we see, there's 6th grade, there's 4, we're talking in the 4th grade. It takes a 4th grader a few minutes to bust a lot of encryption codes. It isn't particularly smart. Because they basically play with computers. My littlest one played with computers since before, she sat on my lap while I work on the computer, and she learned how to, but she could operate the computer by the time she was able to walk. She could operate the computer. She could play music on it, play games. We bought her own computers because we wanted to keep her off of mine. So, and every computer had to be bigger, but she could walk into, we go into a Best Buy, and I hold her in my arms, and she'd go like, Dad, Dad, and he'd go, oh, don't worry about, what did she just do to my computer? She would change, she'd push, and then the whole screen would change. She'd go like this to it, or make it go like this. She could point to where she knew how to do it a couple of points, because she did it to my computer. I said, oh my God, how did you do? Don't know, Daddy. You're talking to a 2-year-old, how did you do that? And you're sitting there and trying to, and I agonized for God knows how long to put my computer screens back the way they belong. She just go, It sounds simple. Make it look, Daddy, spin. And like I said, we go in, like when Circus City was going, hey, Daddy, colors. She'd go, She set off security systems in places, but these are kids. They don't even know what they're doing, and they can screw with systems.
They're like, loud noises.
I know, pretty
Flashing
noises, pretty lights. And because they've grown up sitting at computers. They watch the things you do, and it basically thinks, okay, the trick is a young mind is a pure mind. So it's easy to program a young mind. And there's nothing in there that tells them unless you tell them they can't do it. My grandmother said that what people must understand is that all children are born equal no matter where they're born. That they can do anything. You just have to just let them do it. And that's the difference. If you tell a kid he can't do it, he can't. If you don't tell them they can't, they can do anything. Poor, rich, they all start out the same. When they're born, everything is available to them. So they can, but then you tell them, well, you can't do that because you're not as good as somebody else. So then they don't do it. But like I said, if you trust, remember, this goes way back on computers, garbage in, garbage out. That's what they thought were computers, garbage in, garbage out.
And they still say that too.
I know.
It does depend on what you program.
Right, and the computer is nothing more but a device. It is how it is. It's like a gun. A gun never jumped off a table and killed somebody. A computer on its own never hacked into anybody. It takes a mind and a hand to fire a gun. It takes a mind and at least one finger to make a computer do what it's going to do. So so it's somebody does it. And remember that computers basically they're not quite to the level where they are in like in Terminator, but they're getting darn close. A computer can only do what a person tells it to do. So if the computer, if you're being hacked, which she got the notice from Best Buy. That's just the first. She's also got to get notices from other people she does business with. Well, actually, we'll guarantee you this morning, her bank was shut for 15 minutes.
They opened up 15 minutes late.
Well, this is a news person's assumption. They were busy talking to people in there. If a customer asks you, are the accounts safe, this is what they were doing, the company line speech.
And the company line would sound something like?
Don't worry, that only her email was hacked and no financial information
was transmitted or released.
And that's how you know right off the bat. Okay,
that's a company line.
The company line, They'll also tell you, if you want to know what has been done, listen to what they say. Well, don't worry, the murder victim was not shot by a shotgun. Shot by a shotgun. Don't worry, while the wounds may be substantial, there is no evidence that an axe was used. If your account was hacked into, but at no time was your confidential information violated. Well, it means exactly what they're saying. They'll tell you. It's the same thing as Obama. I'm not going to raise your taxes. I'm pro-American business. I want you to drill. He's telling you he's anti-business, he's not pro-American, and he's anti-drilling. But they'll tell you that. It's just, I mean, you got what's his name, Glenn Beck, who basically is in the back pocket of Barack Obama as long as he needs him. Saul Alinsky basically says this is how you do it. No, basically rudimentary high school psychology tells you is to, you can tell people what you're going to do by telling them you're not going to do it. It's reverse psychology. We're talking freshmen in high school are taught reverse psychology, and they try to, okay, well, we're going to do, we got the football coach. They expect us, you're the greatest quarterback in the history of high school football. They know that you can pass all the way downfield, but they know you're not a good runner. So what you're going to do is fake a pass, then fake a handoff, and then you're going to run the ball downfield. But that's what they think that we're going to do. So you go back, fake the pass, hand the ball off like you're going to hand it off. You start to run downfield. Then you throw the ball over to the halfback. The halfback will then throw it back to you, and you will throw the ball downfield. And they won't expect that you're going to throw the ball downfield, even though you're the greatest thrower in the history of high school football. And then the other coaches say, well, they're going to assume that we're not going to think he's going to throw the ball because he's the greatest quarterback in high school football, but watch, he's going to throw the ball. Everybody knows the same thing. So they all suspect everything. I'm watching a thing on the military channel. Well, Rommel always does this. And we can bet that Rommel is not going to do this time because he wrote the book on how to do it. And then because he will suspect that we know he's not going to do it because he wrote the book on it, he's going to do it anyway. And he does exactly what, but it's it. And it's, like I said, I don't trust computers. I worked with computers since computers were, okay, this building is small compared to the computer I first worked on. I did COBOL, which is really crappy stuff. I go back to where computers, back in the early 1950s when computers were little punch cards they fed in. And you'll see all those bad movies where they sit there, the computer operator punches everything in on the keyboards, puts the little punch card in, and then like 1,000 cards come out, and then you go down, you feed it into the long row of things. I
know, that sounds so archaic. You're thinking all those punch cards, all that work to tell it to do what?
Yeah, and then you get down to one punch card, and that one punch card actually has the information you want. Then you take it back to the person that basically originally did the punch cards, and then that person puts it back in the computer again, so the computer will then be able to type out what was on the punch card.
Sounds like a very long, drawn-out process.
Yeah, but those were hack-proof, folks. It's the same thing as, what was hack-proof on telephones? Where you'd have to, where you have to keep the guy on the line for like 10 minutes or something while they're going down a whole line of phones. And they go this one, then they go to, and they're there, and then they go down to another line of phones, and another line of phones, another line of phones, and they finally
What are you doing?
They're checking where the phone, they're tapping, they're trying to figure out where the phone call come from. But the phone banks are there, you're going, you're going like this, watching the things, and then you find out where another check thing is. You go down to another thing into a building where where this fed into it, and you're going like this again, then you go to another thing in a building where it's going like this. That was when they were secure, because you couldn't trace those things. Because it took at least 3 minutes, I think, to do it. Nobody stays on the phone for 3 minutes. Today, they break into your cell phone in a matter of seconds. Seconds is all it takes to get into your cell phone. Because there's no longer having to go like this. First of all, by the GPS system on their phone, they know where your phone is at. By your ISP on your phone, they know where your phone is at. And, and basically then it takes, was it 10, 15 seconds max? Look on NCIS, which is true. I need 10 seconds, boss. And he's getting, can't you make it go, I need 10 seconds. 10 seconds, just, 10 seconds, he's going, all around, okay, we got him, he's standing next to me. And he pulled out, he's using my cell phone. So you're calling off, that's what you can do with this stuff. But we have no security anymore. And basically, what scares me is I fly airplanes. I used to fly airplanes. Okay, planes used to be flew by wire. They're no longer.
What do you mean by wire?
Basically, everything was hooked up to cables and stuff.
Oh, okay.
They flew by wire. Today they fly by electronic signals from, what makes the parts work is a signal from one part of the plane to another.
Yeah, but if the signal goes down.
If the signal goes out, you have no way of controlling the plane. It's how, don't you wonder how they'll say, well,
What
don't
happened
worry.
to that manual override?
Yeah, we can land the plane even if the pilots are unconscious. Because the ground crew can control your airplane in the air. Since they can control the airplane in the air, so can anybody else.
Oh, you kind of forget about that.
Yeah, like you're gonna, you're on board an airplane and okay, we're going to tell you, okay, this is a movie scenario. You're on your airplane, you have your iPad, which they now allow you to use on airplanes, which they didn't use for those simple reasons because they caused interference, but now they no longer cause interference. You sit there, okay, I'm an Arab terrorist. Oh, I forgot, there are no such thing as Arab terrorists. They're only evil people, even though they're all Arabs. And like I said, when one of them becomes a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 7-foot-tall Scandinavian, people are going to stop talking about Arab terrorists. But he's got a little iPad, and he's just saying, "Oh, look, I'm having a good time playing. I think I'll make the plane bank to the right. I think I'll make the plane bank to the left. I think I'll crash the plane in the Pentagon." You don't need to hijack a plane like they would. You don't need guns. You don't need knives. You can do it with a computer on board the airplane. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, but they know that.
No, they don't.
They don't?
They let you use computers on planes now.
That's true.
They use computers, even though they had a bad sci-fi movie on where a guy did that. I saw it the other day.
They don't watch all those movies.
Yeah, that's where they get their ideas is from movies. Those people still think that Roy Rogers and Gene Autry are fighting Indians in the 1940s. They're not backwards. They just think, well, if it's an American movie, it's what's going on. If they watch
Yeah,
movies,
there are people that it's like if it's on TV, then that must be real.
because they'll sit there, we're talking, you can see how to build nuclear bombs on television.
Yeah.
You can see how to build weapons of mass destruction on television. You can see how to poison our water systems on television. You can see how to grow anthrax on television. So, so with it all being done, all you got to go to the.
All you have to do is watch TV.
Yeah, or say, okay, I want a movie on hijacking an airplane. What's a good? And go to the airport. Go to the. They still have video rental stores. What's a good movie on this? This is here. What year is it? 2011. Is there any good feature films made about really action adventures about the good guy stopping hijackings on airplanes? Oh God, there's lots of action movies where the hero stops the bad Muslim, and they go and they said, that's what they did wrong. If we don't do that, then we can do it. Because these guys that write these movies, anybody understand that Ian Fleming, who wrote James Bond, was basically one of the founding members of MI5?
No.
Yeah, he basically based a lot of that stuff on things that he saw as an intelligence man. You got, these guys, we got scientists. Okay, another bad movie, Sci-Fi Channel. Basically, a guy quit being a scientist because there wasn't as much money in it, and he went writing books about how you could control things. And he just happened that he was an expert in that field of science, and so one of the people co-opted his ideas. That's interesting. If we were to change it just a little bit, we could control the weather. And that's how simple it is. And you say, well, those things don't happen. Yeah, I'm going to give you, I'm going to go back, an ancient episode, I think 1970 something, it was in Hawaii 5-0, and Jack Lord talking, about, that, I thought I'd committed the perfect crime. And Jack Lord says that, Steve McGarrett, sir, if you'd have committed the perfect crime, we'd have never known it had been committed. And then years later, Horatio on CSI Miami. Someday they are going to commit the perfect crime, and it's going to be perfect because no one's ever going to know it's been done. If they create the perfect hijacking, no one's going to know no one's going to know how it was done. If they create the perfect death Ray, no one's gonna know they did it because you're all gonna be dead.
Oh, like this perfect hacking is not so perfect, cause we know.
They got caught. Okay, another one. I mean, like, I like the Dirty Dozen because I was one of the soldiers in the Dirty Dozen. And one of the scenes I'm sitting on the set listening, because, you know, they really weren't in cells, they were just in great big open spaces, and I always liked this line from Lee Marvin to Charles Bronson, you know. But he, you know, basically he said, you know, he said, but what I did was right. And Bronson said to Marvin, he said, yeah, but you got caught. See, if this guy hadn't have got greedy, he'd have gotten away with it because they'd have buried it. They would have simply buried it. But they went this far, and then he went further, and the further he went, you know, the more likely he was going to get caught. If the guy stopped, if you're hacking something, you stop at a certain point, you're never going to get caught because they're not going to tell anybody you did it. I mean, you could rob the Bank of England as long as you didn't rob it enough. You could break the bank.
It's that one extra time that you had to do it.
Well, it's just the same thing. I know my father said they did a robbery where a person had been robbing the bank for years. You know, they just been embezzling. You know, basically what happened was somebody would put $20.10 in. They'd only put $20, and everybody, a lot of people will odd amounts. You know, like $21.50. You know, because it's what they have with them. Or, you know, they put their payroll check in, which is, you know, like $150.80. Well, they would put that. You realize in a day how much money that amounts up to? In a day it amounts up, basically they were being embezzled by hundreds of dollars a week, thousands of dollars a month, tens of thousands of dollars a year, but they went one too far. They decided to go dollars instead of cents. The dollars caught them. They didn't stop. If they had kept doing it this, it was a perfect crime. Because nobody cared about 20 cents. No one cared about 80 cents. They cared about the dollar. When they put $21, no, I put $21 in, not $20. And they said, well, no, you put $20 in. No. And then, you know, the guy said another one, I put $150 in. I did not put $148 in. And that's how they caught them. They went one step too far. And that's what happens. Most criminals are criminals because they're not very bright. A bright person doesn't get caught.